Hey y'all, hope everyone is doing really well. I'm here today with a different kind of doll. This is typically, if you've seen any of my other videos, I am a reborn doll collector and I also collect silicone dolls. But I thought I would share a doll that has been in my family for over 100 years at this point. This is a composition mama doll, is what they typically call them. She belonged to my great-grandmother, who was born in 1912. So I would guesstimate that this doll was made in the late 1910s, early 1920s, if I had to guess. So yeah, I just thought I would share her. I don't know if I'm going to post this video in one part or two, but the reason why I'm sharing her is because I'm actually going to have her sent off to be restored and repaired. She might look okay at this angle, you know, just regular wear and tear for over 100 years. But when you look at her from the side, her head, this poor girl, her head is completely cracked open at the seam. So we are gonna get that taken care of. Luckily, there's not much like missing from her head. So I've actually contacted a woman online who told me that this should be, you know, pretty simple repair. But yeah, I think it'll just make me feel better knowing that, you know, she's been around 100 years and I'd love to, you know, keep her in our family for the next 100. But her paint is like, you know, considering it's 100 years old, in pretty good shape. One of the craziest things about this whole thing is that her eyes in person are like almost the exact same shade of green as my mother's. And it's just like, so, I don't know, that's just always been so strange to me because, you know, she belonged to my great-grandmother. But, yeah, there's just always that piece of family history there. I've just, you know, I've always loved studying history, and of course, if you've watched my channel for even a millisecond, you know I love dolls, so it's very, very special that this doll is going to live with me. She's been living in my parents' attic since I was a child, so we're going to breathe some new life into her. We'll get some repair, like obviously the huge crack will be repaired. We'll get some paint touch-ups. I also asked her to take a look at her dress. You know, to be honest, it's pretty common with these early 1900s composition dolls for there to be no manufacturer markings, and this doll doesn't have any to my eye. So I don't know if the dress came with her when she was purchased or if perhaps someone in my family or just someone they knew made it, but we're gonna see if there can be some, you know, just general cleaning and repairs. There's a little hole in there. And then she also, I took this off just because I'm getting ready to ship her, but she also had these little undergarments which are heavily stained and then a little like slip dress that goes on under this dress, which is in much better condition. But yeah, piece of history right here. And honestly, it just really makes you think, you know, to my eye, obviously there's obvious damage, but considering she's over 100 years old, her paint is in decent condition, and it really just makes you think, what will our vinyl dolls, reborns, look like 100 years from now? I'm just always so, I don't want to say anxious, I feel that word is too strong, but I do get worried about preserving them and what they'll look like. I try not to have too much wear and tear. Some things are inevitable. Every once in a while they'll have paint rubs and things, but it really just makes you think, you know, will they be as well loved and preserved 100 years from today? So just something to think on. I might not post this. I might wait until she's back from her repairs, and I might just do this all in one big video when she comes back, but we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to show you a little bit of her details. So she has a cloth body under here, and she has a cry box. So I don't know if you can hear that when I tap on her. you can hear something kind of mechanical in there. That it's she had a crier, and then she has eyes. I don't know if they're tin, but she has like soft eyelashes. Not sure what they're made of, but those open and close when you lay her down. I don't love like messing with her too much. Growing up, she was just sat on a chair and in the attic. So she was never played with by me, but my great-grandmother played with her, my grandma played with her, and my mom did. So yeah, just really special. I never touched her much because for as long as I can think back, you know, she's had this giant split in her head. So my mother just didn't want me to, you know, obviously damage her further when I was a child, but yeah, I'll show you a little bit up close. I love, so these composition dolls, she was painted with like an oil-based paint, so you absolutely cannot get any water on them. I've been, you know, I'm shipping her off because I have no idea how to repair this. But even general cleaning, I haven't even attempted because you're not supposed to use like water or anything. You're supposed to keep them away from any kind of moisture. So I have not attempted any kind of cleaning. We'll see how she looks when she comes back. But you can see she has like this beautiful like molded hair, like these little curls, and there's curls on the back of her head as well. Her eyes open and shut. She has that cry box, but it doesn't function. Beautiful eyes. I think her paint is in fairly good condition considering it's over 100 years old. There's some damage, like crazing is what they call it for this type of paint, for all the little like cracks and stuff like that, and she's missing half of this finger. So the woman I am sending her off to is all the way across the country. But I've seen her work on other dolls, and I think she'll do a fabulous job. So she has like basically what we would call it in the reborn world, like 3/4 arms. So she's cloth up here, and then the composition here. You can see like all the seams where she was put together. And then I don't know what you would call these legs. I guess 3/4, whatever the equivalent is in the reborn world. But yeah, she's cloth up here and a cloth body. So definitely like crazing, like cracks in her paint, and then some issues with like her toes, like you can see straight down to the composition in places, and you can see straight down to the composition on the back of her head. Oops. So see here, this is the material she was made of that you can see in here and on the back of her head. I just love her little curls. I know some people are like very freaked out by vintage dolls, but I never have been. I think, you know, in my personal, very biased opinion, I think she's a beautiful doll. So her eyes are slightly uneven. I wonder if she'll come back repaired or if she won't touch them, because I don't really see a lot of cloudiness or issues with them, to be honest. It's just that little bit of unevenness, how this one droops down a bit, but yeah, I just thought I'd share that. It's different from my normal content, but I just thought it'd be something cool to see. You know, we're all doll collectors, and some of us collect dolls of all shapes and sizes, not just reborns. So yeah, not sure if I'll post this. I might wait until she comes back, and she's all fixed up, so we might do a little before and after moment. So yeah, thanks for watching so far. Take care, y'all. Bye. We're back. Okay, it's almost time for the big unveiling. No time has passed for you all, or, you know, about 4 seconds have passed. But for me, it's been about 3 months. So I legitimately can't remember anything I talked about in the first clip, and I'm not going to go back and watch it. So I apologize if this is a little repetitive, but I thought I'd show you who fixed her, and then we'll do the big unveiling. So Elizabeth Crouch at the Doll Fixer is the one who did this restoration. So you can see the dates on there. We're about, it's not October 2nd right now. Some time has passed since she was shipped. But she could not save, she saved the dress that was underneath her original dress, but this dress is just super, super delicate, and she didn't think she could tackle it, and honestly, I don't blame her for even a single second. But let's do the big unveiling. I was too impatient to wait for better light. So it is kind of the middle of the night here, so apologies for that. But I wanted to give a shout out to the woman who did her restoration. This outfit that she's wearing was actually gifted to her mother when she was a baby. So really just such a nice touch. I'm really glad she did that. But let's do the big unveiling. 3, 2, 1. There she is. She's wearing a bonnet, but you may remember, well, I'm saying this as if you didn't watch the clip. Her head was completely split open, and now she is as good as new. But let's take off this bonnet so you can actually see. All right. Oops. There we go. Love the bonnet too. It's so beautiful. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. It's crazy. No more gaping, gigantic. Hello, Hugo. Let's flip her around. Oops, there's the back of her head now. Oops, sorry. Back of her head. She's good as new. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm extremely thankful that Elizabeth was willing to tackle this project. Oops, sorry, I gotta keep this bonnet away from my nosy little cat here. She looks so pretty. And I opened her with my mother and my sister after dinner this evening, and they were both just totally blown away. Because literally since I was a child, since my mother was a child, this poor doll has had her head completely cracked wide open. So yes, I'm very glad that she's back and she looks so great. So, you know, I think the goal was to, you know, she's been in my family for right over 100 years, and, you know, hopefully she'll stick around for the next 100. And I'm gonna stop now and get her somewhere safe because this is happening. And I don't want him to mess with her. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you didn't make it this far, I will post, I've got a reel in my drafts on Instagram that'll probably sum all of my babbling up in about 30 seconds. So it'll have some of the before and after pictures and just quick little clips of her, you know, before and after. So thank you for watching if you made it this far. And we'll be back with reborn doll content soon, I'm sure. So yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.